विशाख सागर तीरे राजते विशिष्ट सेक्ति परिशोधक संस्था विशाख सागर तीरे राजते विशिष्ट सेक्ति परिशोधक संस्था भारत माता किरीट भूत भारत माता किरीट भूत सकल जनाना श्रेयोदायिक विशाख सागर तीरे राजते विशिष्ट सेक्ति परिशोधक संस्था भुजतैलगतां वायुजले नकां सेक्तिमुपास्ते यासुदेवी हे ये तदुपासन या सर्व जगतः शांति सूक्ष्म सिद्ध्यति सततं सेक्ति पंचामृतं पंचभूतगतं अब्धिमदनादिव संग्रह्य इयं ददाति शाश्वत प्राणिसुखाय सर्वप्राणिसन् त्राणसुयत्न वंगरी नामक ग्रामे सुंदर पर्वतमध्ये शीर्षसुवेक्षिते बहुसुमतिभिः संघटितेयं विश्वपालकैः आद्रियते सदा विशाख सागर तीरे राजते विशिष्ट सेक्ति परिशोधक संस्था।
I declare the third convocation open. Recipients of degrees for BTech programs present in this hall, please stand. During this convocation, 102 BTech degrees, 46 in chemical engineering and 56 in petroleum engineering, and 1 degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa are being awarded in person and in absentia. Recipients of degrees, I charge you that in thought, word, and deed, you will ever maintain the purity, dignity, and integrity of your profession and the honor of the institute. Please take pledge.
भारतीय पेट्रोलियम एवं ऊर्जा संस्थानम विशाखापट्टनात् स्नातक अहम एतत् शपथ सम्मानम प्रतिज्ञां करोमि यत् अहम नूतन ज्ञानस्य प्राप्त्यर्थम प्रसारणार्थम जननार्थम च कार्यं निरन्तरं करिष्यामि। यत् विचारेण वचनेन कर्मणा च अहं स्वव्यवसायस्य नैतिकमूल्यानां अंतःकरणपूर्वकं पालनं कृत्वा मानवकल्याणार्थं योगदानं दातुं प्रयत्स्ये। यत् अहं समावेशी समाजस्य सतत विकासाय च कार्यं करिष्यामि। I, a graduate of the Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy, Vishakhapatnam, pledge today to honor this oath that I shall continue to work to acquire, disseminate, and generate new knowledge, that in thought, word, and deed, I shall endeavor to contribute to human welfare by consciously adhering to the ethical values of my profession, that I shall work for an inclusive society and sustainable development.
All BTech degree recipients, please resume your seat. Guest, Professor Archana Bhattacharya, INSA Honorary Scientist, Indian Institute of Geomagnetism, Mumbai, members of Board of Governors, senators, distinguished faculty members, graduates, the brand ambassador of IIPE, parents, ladies and gentlemen, my dear students, members of press and media. It's really nice to see the graduates sitting on the first row. Probably this is the first time and the last time you're sitting on the first. In the class, you never sat on the first row. It's with immense pride and joy that I stand before you today as the director of this institute to address this convocation ceremony. This day marks a significant milestone in your lives as you prepare to embark on new journeys and take the knowledge and experiences gained here to shape a brighter future for yourselves and the world. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you, the graduating class of the 2023. Your hard work, dedication, perseverance have brought you to this momentous occasion. And I commend you for your remarkable achievements. Today we celebrate not only your academic accomplishments, but also the personal growth and development that you have undergone during your time at IIPE. I would also like to acknowledge the invaluable role played by our faculty members, mentors, staff members in guiding and shaping your academic journey. Their dedication and commitment have been instrumental in nurturing your talents and preparing you for the real world. Finally, I would take a moment to express my gratitude to the parents, guardians, and family of our graduates. Your unwavering support and encouragement have been essential in helping them reach this momentous milestone. Your belief in their abilities have been a driving force, and I'm certain you take immense pride in their achievements today. Dear graduates, you are graduating in the year of Natu Natu, and today is a Natu Natu moment for you. The song talks about, whatever I do is purely mine. It's my own experience, it's my own way of expression. These are my words, this is my style, look at me, this is who I am. I want you to be what you are and let people follow you. In 25 years from now, the country would be celebrating 100 years of independence, and some of us would have already bid adieu to this world, wonderful world. But you all would be at the peak of your career. These 5 years, you can play a vital role in shaping the nation as a developed world with the second strongest economy in the world. You have a huge responsibility to play. When you talk about IIP, two things comes to us. The first is the word "and" between petroleum and energy. I'm personally obsessed with this word. We have to play a vital role towards India's commitment to net zero. Amazing bandwidth this word A&D has given to the institute. It has given us a niche area, the energy, and that's why I call this institute a Gen Next Institute. Second thing which comes is the land issue. Whenever you talk about IIP, it starts with land issue. It seems IIP and land issue are where the two sides of the same coin, but now they do not coexist. Thanks to all of you who supported us in getting this land issue resolved. The tender for the permanent campus has been floated, and the last date was 31st of July. CPW is evaluating the tenders, and hopefully by the end of this month, we expect a bidder to be awarded. The compound wall, which has been taken care by APIIC, will be completed soon. The institute's present thrust is twofold. First is internationalization, and the second is working very closely with the industry. The research perception of the institute increases exponentially when you start solving industry problems. And I'm proud of my faculty colleagues. They are putting really effort to get in touch with the industry and to solve some of their problems. In near future, we will be solving some of the problems with the NTPC as well. The other thing what we're taking initiative is that we wanted a master's program in energy science and engineering, which should be industry-oriented. And thanks to Greenco Foundation, they have partially supported 5 students for their fellowships, their project for 1 year, and if they really do good, they'll be getting a PPO. I would also like to thank SBI Foundation for supporting us with the SBI XRD facility through a CSR fund of rupees 4 crore. Halliburton, one of the world's largest providers for products, services, and integrated solutions for oil and gas exploration, development, and production, has donated a landmark software which was about 30 crores. Regarding internationalization, I'll tell you that we have an international advisory board where the academicians are across the globe. And they keep on advising us. We have a frequent meetings, and they keep on advising us in designing the course curriculum. With their support, we are starting a international elective. We have also a provision of hosting foreign nationals. And by the end of this academic year, we are expecting about half a dozen of academicians to be at IIP physically. The purpose of their visit is that they'll be offering an international elective. We are going to host with them joint summer, joint winter, and also a joint project work. We are a part of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute and study in India. We have started a sandwich PhD program. It's a really interesting stuff. The concept was borrowed from DAAD Fellowship of Germany, where a PhD scholar completing his course curriculum, research seminar and all, submits a proposal, and if is evaluated, and the institute supports them for being in that institute for 6 to 12 months. In fact, recently we had conducted a global hydrogen summit where the government made an announcement that they would make Vizag the hydrogen city, with IIP taking the lead role. The idea of hosting such event germinated from one of the international advisory board meeting. We are also a part of Government of India's Capacity Building Commission. The commission is the custodian of the civil services capacity building ecosystem. It is expected that the first batch of civil servants would be at the institute early September, if not late August. On the line of International Advisory Board, we are in process of consulting and constituting an industrial advisory board. During the last academic year, we have a project worth of about rupees 9.5 crore sponsored research projects. And the highest value project was sponsored to one of our colleagues, Professor Kumud Tripathi from Oil India Limited. It was 1.2 crores. Recently, Institute signed MOU with First Climate India for cooperation in areas covering greenhouse gas mitigation, carbon footprint, and climate change studies. University of Stony Brook, University of Bergen, Norway, and UFA Petroleum Technology University also we signed an MOU. In fact, one of our PhD scholars, Ms. Geeta Singh, would be going to University of Bergen in that student exchange program. In fact, during this summer, about 25 students were likely to come from UFA, State Petroleum Technology University, Russia, but it took time to finalize this, so it could not happen. We have constituted Best Faculty Award and Best Employee Award, which are conferred on the foundation day of 20th of October every year. The first recipient of the Best Employee was Sri Ramakrishna, the Office Superintendent. In the Best Faculty Award, the thing is that the faculty has to spend 1 month with the support of the institute to one of the university or the institute abroad. And the first recipient of Best Faculty Award was Professor Appar Roy from Department of Humanities and Sciences. Professor Raka Mandal was honored with SIRE Award of DST, where she spent about a month in Cambridge University. Professor Seshagiri Rao was a visiting researcher at Switzerland. We are starting 3 programs in this academic year: an undergrad program in mechanical engineering, and master's program in applied geology, an integrated master's program in PhD, integrated master's program PhD. To reduce the gender gap, we have introduced 3,000 rupees per month fellowship for 10% girl students of this institute. The courses student can opt from Coursera, MIT, NPTEL, and these are part of the course curriculum. There is also provision of transfer of credits. Now, my dear graduates, let's discuss some traits. If I ask you a simple question, which food you remember the most, the first thing will come up as pizza. And pizza has 8 slices. And similar to my last convocation address, I'll try to convey 8 traits. In this convocation address, I have already conveyed 1 trait, which you must have forgotten by now. And I'm sure that the Gajini movie of Amir Khan came up seeing these students who used to remember only 15 minutes a day. What was the first trait? The first trait was you be of yourself, the natu natu. The second trait is, often we wonder that the outlay of the IIP campus is 650 crores for construction and 400 crores for other things. And some of us feel it's a bit less. But if you see the cost of Chandrayaan-3 project, which was around 615 crores, and the movie Adi Purush, which was about 600 crores, friends, it's our choice what we want to be, Chandrayaan-3 or Adi Purush. Incidentally, today, Chandrayaan-3 is entering Moon's orbit, and you are also entering a different world. Even if you think that the budget of these 2 films were very large, there are 2 movies which I watch and which I remind that the budget of these 2 movies were very low. One was Bheza Fry and the Blair Witch Project. The budget was pretty low, but it earned a lot. It was a super duper hit. And they made a very serious impact on the society. graduates, I need your support to make an IIP, a Chandrayaan-3 in energy sector. The third trait I'll be talking about is, if I ask you one word way you can define Tendulkar, the first thing which comes to you is talent. I'll tell you a story about Tendulkar. He played 55 games at a stretch. As a 14-year-old without a break, he practiced 2 hours, played the match or the game, and then practiced another 2 hours, and he used to sleep on the dining table, and that was 55 days in a row. That's an attitude. You know, we can draw a similar analogy, but not to that extent from our exams. We only read during that 7 days. When Tendulkar was born, it was not that the nurse came, picked Tendulkar in the lap and gave it to Sachin's mother and said, hey auntie, this is your hundreds of you. It isn't Tendulkar's talent that produced hundreds. It's his work ethics, attitude, and more than anything else, he reached his tops because of the passion to perform. And that counts far, far more than anything else. The attitude, the passion, they count too much. And it captures more than the ability. Ability opens the first or probably the second door. But if you have to be at the peak, you need to have persuasions, attitude, and passion. I'll talk about the perception. I was listening Shashi Tharoor's one day a video. He called a doctor the other day, and he told the doctor, one of my friend's wife has this problem. So he said that probably it looks like, what's the name of the friend? He said, this is the name, X name. So he says that probably it looks like that she has an appendicitis. But then the doctor said that in the medical history, you cannot have 2 appendicitis operations because I had already operated your friend's wife. Then Shashi Tharoor said, he has got a second wife, the first wife is no more. So that's the perception, friends. Yeah, I asked this question too, what's the favorite food you have? You will say, obviously, pizza and pastas. This is true for my daughter as well. In a hostel, you must have ate a lot of pizza and pastas. You will be eating another couple of pizza and pastas in coming years. But I advise you to read Serve to Win book. That's of Novik Djokovic. And he reveals the diet plan and fitness plan that transformed his health and pushed him to be at the pinnacle. He writes that the diet that transformed me from the brink of failure of the champion of the world in 18 months. Just I was reaching at the top, I was hitting the bottom. So you need to concentrate in your diet as well on the physical fitness. The next trait is improve reading habits. I honestly request your friends to read one of the books which I follow, Atomic Habits. The book is centered on how one can make small changes in life by inculcating good habits and removing bad habits, which when repeated and built upon can have a compounded effect, resulting in better version of ourselves. This is the 7th thing which I'll be talking to you is, I remember that when you qualified JEE Advanced, one thing always you to ask, should I take this, which institute should I take, X or Y? Which branch I should take, this branch or that branch? In fact, last year, petroleum engineering students asked me, why should I read petroleum engineering course when the fossil will be over? I had a very typical answer. I used to say that you follow your heart. But then I started thinking myself, there is something deep in it. The fact is, friends, that all of you are undergoing tremendous amount of anxiety about your career. The country has a lot of good institutes, and there is ample opportunity. But I feel the students in general have tremendous amount of anxiety. It was true for this time also. The anxiety is due to, why due to? It's due to fear of losing out. I have taken petroleum, what happens if chemical engineering tomorrow grows up. Because the thing is there that now you take a scenario, now you have graduated. Should I go for a campus with ONGC or HPCL? What happens tomorrow if HPCL doesn't click? What happens if ONGC doesn't click? I'll lose my job tomorrow. I'll tell you, friends, I think the anxiety level is same, if not more. And it really puzzles me that you have achieved this position of your life, a tremendous amount of pressure, effort. Why to be that anxious? The basic purpose of education is to liberate you from fear, make you fearless. But what's making us is anxious and worried about the future. And since, as you are from a reputed institute, and I see other reputed students, and you'll be joining a reputed firm, this anxiety is really baffling me. The problem is that if you talk to you, or if you try to answer one question, you start with a big if. That brings a lot of anxiety. If my aunt puts some moisture, she becomes uncle. So that anxiety you should try to overcome. And this anxiety comes from external validation. If I get 99.99, the society, I'll be talked very high in the society. It's really fascinating when somebody has told, oh, you have got a very good marks and all. Yeah, those are important. But there are people who could not flow in that river. They go to a tremendous amount of different life, altogether hell. So anxiety, one of the reasons I personally feel is external validation. The problem is we have forgotten to connect with ourselves. I was reading a blog of Professor Rakesh of IIM Bangalore, and what he has written a very beautiful thing. His father has built up a house in Jaipur or Jodhpur, I don't remember, Jaipur probably. And then one day he had gone to visit, and his father had put a lot of effort in building the house, and their barren land was there, and he put a lot of, he built up a park and all, and then one day he was narrating his story to his son, Professor Rakesh. And then what happened, that Rakesh went and saw that on the foundation stone, his father's name was not there. So Professor Rakesh is of my age, so he got baffled completely, and he asked, Father, what is this? Your name is not there. He said that I'm not worried with these things. See, the problem is, this is the important, how to see the life. He said, see, what happens, on this wall, people go and spit. Do you want your people to spit on your father's name? So never try to be that someone should talk about that way to you. His father gave a message. It's important that people should know what you have done. That's it. The second thing which comes is, for anxiety, is the comparison. And everything is built upon comparison. Your decisions on brand. I put up a Ray-Ban goggles. I put on this Fab India shirt and all those stuff. And if the comparison are positive, that's fine. If it's a negative, then you are on a low esteem, self-respect, self-confidence is pretty low. Some of you know that I watch a lot of movies. I'll take you to the movie 3 Idiots. You remember the scene where this Chatur goes to the water tank and calls them on the water tank, says, hey, dekh raha hai mera, this Lamborghini. I have got a heated swimming pool. I'll tell my secretary to give you $5,000. These sentences are very common nowadays. People have a habit of doing this. And everyone likes that. But if you have this, the rat race will never stop, my dear friends. We'll end like Chatur. If we have this car, heated swimming pool, I tell my secretary to give $5,000, and then, now what? The more you depend on comparison to feel good, the higher will be the anxiety. That is why I say you're not to. There is a beautiful story is there in Brazil. There was a businessman was there, and he was watching a fisherman doing fishing. He asked, what are you doing? He said, I'm doing fishing. How many fish you catch per day? He said, 2. Why only 2? He said, by this 2, I am able to make my family comfortable, everyone is comfortable, and then still we save money and all. Then he talks about that. What to do then? He said, I get up early, go for fishing, have fishing, go to home, spend time with my friends, family, kids and all. Then this businessman said, I will give you an idea. Why don't you try to go put more time on fishing? So he asked, then what I'll do with that? you will earn money. Then what I'll do? Then you can take up some boats and beach. Then what I will do? He said, you will sit on the beach. Then he said, wahi to kar raha hu main. So you have to find your limit, friends. Now the thing is, how do I measure my life? So if you see this, basically a three-dimensional X, Y, Z. X is the finance that dictates you, makes a decision. Next is, Y is the society. And third, the most ignored, is yourself. So you make decisions seeing the finance, the society, and the personal is the last. The question is, can you measure life in other ways and not depend upon finance only? You might have heard that Bhutan is a country which measures life of gross national happiness index. So basically, anxiety is more when you have external validation, too much depend on the comparison and the finance and the personal thing coming at the last. I'll advise you to read 2 more books. One is Grit, which is a singular focused book. He says, be resilient. There's another book is there which talks about range. And it talks about that you can have a huge range of career. You can talk about the sports person. Okay, you can see the Dhoni from where he started from a railways, played cricket, and know what he is doing now. So the first book basically talks about resilient. Build your own resilience, learn how to fail, be gritty about what you're doing, and avoid external validation. If you have these things, how can the level of self-confidence and self-esteem go slow? Something's definitely going wrong. And if it happens because of external validation, comparison, and single focus towards a result, it's a number, if that doesn't change as much. Your self-esteem and self-confidence will start going down, down, down. And I feel you will not be able to follow your dream of passion. You must have watched the movie, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. If you have not watched, you watch that movie and you'll learn how to live. Friends, at the end, I'll put 5 numbers to you. The first is 10 billion. It's the population. You will live in a world which is being so crowded. So you'll be living in a crowded world. 100, life expectancy will be touched 100 years, and some of you will be reaching that domain of 22nd century. 60 years. Working years from the day of your graduation. But if I ask you all, and you will say, sir, I'll retire at 50. If you retire at 50, I'm ready to work up to 80, give me a job. You can see from our chief guest, at this age also, how much she is contributing. How many careers you will have in job, not jobs, in your life? People say nowadays 5. From engineering, you'll go to management, to author, to YouTuber, influencer, entrepreneurship, and someone can become Dhinchak Puja as well. When I was asking this question to one of my class, the last number which I kept was 3. And I asked what the 3 would be. You know what they told? I was talking to some executives. They told 3 marriages. I said, no. I then asked him, are you married? He said, no. I said, no, Baba, 1 is enough for me. It's not the 3 marriages. 3 places in the world where you can live. Earth, Mars, and Moon. And then what will happen, you know? When I was growing, there was a talk with, can I go to Antarctica? Now you see, the people can go to Antarctica. When you graduate, after some time, you will have a passport to go to Moon. And then, when you come back, hey, which part of Moon you had seen? North or South? I had seen South, I had seen North. And then the comparison again starts, and you're back with the anxiety. So avoid the... Friends, why are you wasting your life for future with the choices are so simple and enormous? There is only one life to live. I have already told that you must watch that Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. By being anxious and you are getting in cage, and one of the famous dialogue of the movie of the Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara is, इंसान को डिब्बे में बस तब होना चाहिए जब वो मर चुका है. So if you are being too anxious, so you may be losing that part. Develop your self-esteem and self-confidence. Boss, there are a lot to do when there are these 5 numbers. Then you can avoid to be anxious. Self-confidence and self-esteem is low. Why and how it can be low? You guys have cracked such a tough exam. Solution to all problems, earlier when I was in Dhanbad, I used to tell was this Bollywood movies, but I started coming here, started seeing a lot of Telugu movies. The solution of all these problems are in movies. You can watch those movies. Before coming to my concluding remarks, I'll end with the Bheja Prai dialogue. Chinta chita ke samman hoti hai, so don't be anxious, my dear friends. At the end, we would like to acknowledge with all humility the support from Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India, the industries who supports us, ONGC, Oil India, HPCL, GAIL, IOCL, NTPC, various government and regulatory authorities, different ministries of Government of India, Government of Andhra Pradesh, District Administration of Visakhapatnam and Anakapalli, and various sponsoring agencies and the collaborating industries, members of the board and the Senate. I would personally acknowledge the support received from all of my colleagues and students. I convey once again my heartiest congratulations, best wishes to all my dear students who have received their degrees and medals today, who would be receiving it. I conclude by thanking our chief guest for being with us on this auspicious occasion, and I'm personally honored, ma'am. Jai Hind. Chief, our Associate Dean to do the honor of introducing the chief guest.
So it's my pleasure to introduce our chief guest, Professor Archana Bhattacharya. Professor Bhattacharya earned her BSc Honours and MSc degrees in Physics from University of Delhi in 1967 and 1969 respectively. And she was awarded K.S. Krishnan Gold Medal for holding first rank in MSc Physics. She received her PhD degree from Northwestern University in USA in 1975. In 1978, she joined the Indian Institute of Geomagnetism, where she initiated the theoretical studies of the scattering of radio signals by inhomogeneous density structures in the Earth's ionosphere. During 1986-87, she worked as a research associate at the University of Illinois. Her work on the development of strong scatter theory for the interpretation of observed ionospheric scintillations gained her recognition. She was awarded a senior research associateship of the National Research Council of USA to work at the Air Force Research Laboratory at Massachusetts. Around this time, the detrimental effect of ionospheric scintillation on the performance of satellite-based navigation systems such as GPS became a major concern. Her work in this area is considered to be of fundamental importance. She also proposed a new theory for an electromagnetic Rayleigh-Taylor plasma instability in the equatorial ionosphere. This opened up a new area of investigating the magnetic field fluctuations associated with the phenomenon of equatorial plasma bubbles using satellite data. She was appointed the director of Indian Institute of Geomagnetism in 2005, a position which she held until 2010. Professor Bhattacharya was editor associated of many national and international journals, including Journal of Geophysical Research, Space Physics, which are being published by American Geophysical Union during 2008 to 2011. She has served as the chairperson of Program Advisory Committee on Earth and Atmospheric Sciences of the Science and Engineering Research Board during 2015-2018. She was a member of the Executive Committee of the International Association of Geomagnetism and Aeronomy during 2011 to 2019 and Vice President of the Indian Geophysical Union during 2005 to 2011. She has served as the chairperson of INSA Joint National Committee on Space Research, International Union of Radio Sciences, and Scientific Committee on Solar Terrestrial Physics during 2012-2015, and currently she is the chairperson of INSA Joint National Committee for International Union of Geodesy and Geophysics and International Geographical Union. She has been a member of Research Advisory Council and governing bodies of a number of national institutes and continues to be so. She is an elected fellow of Indian National Science Academy, INSA, Indian Academy of Sciences, and the National Academy of Sciences in India, and the Indian Geophysical Union. She was awarded the K.R. Ramanathan Medal and Lecture of IGU in 2008. She was awarded at Jessie Bose National Fellowship during 2013-16. She won the first Women Geoscientist Award given by the Geological Society of India in 2019. In 2019, she was made an honorary member of International Association of Geomagnetism and Aeronomy and a fellow of the Scientific Committee on Solar Terrestrial Physics of the International Science Council. She is currently an INSA honorary scientist at Indian Institute of Geomagnetism. So it's an absolute pleasure to hear you from Ma'am. So I invite our Chief Guest, Professor Archana Bhattacharya, to deliver the convocation address.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm indeed greatly honored to be here today at the third annual convocation of the young and unique Indian Institute of Petroleum Energy, an institute of national importance, a truly important institute for the nation, I think. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the graduating students of the class of 2023. Today is a big day for all of you, the culmination of 4 years of hard work. Well, actually, the hard work begins even earlier. Given the large number of students who aspire to enter this premier institute to acquire cutting-edge knowledge and skills in science and engineering related to all aspects of petroleum and energy, you had to ensure a good rank in the advanced joint entrance exam and also a high level of performance in the class 12 board exams to secure your admission to this institute. A nerve-wracking experience for most youngsters. I mean, you know, we always look at young people going through this and sort of wonder how they do it. Because it's well known that in many instances, preparations for the joint entrance exam actually start years before the examination is actually taken. So, you know, but all this is behind you now as you look ahead to a bright future that awaits you. With your degrees from this prestigious institute in your hands. To quote the well-known British author, Z.D. Smith, the past is always tense and the future perfect. As time goes by, you will find how much truth there is in that statement, of course. However, one thing is certainly true. You have had the opportunity to spend 4 years in acquiring in-depth knowledge focused on very well-defined objectives. These have made you highly skilled for good jobs, particularly in the petroleum sector. Your skills, I'm sure, are in great demand in multinational companies as well as our public sector units, undertakings. Many of you already have excellent job offers in your pockets. This scenario is, you know, very, very different from what happens when you graduate with a degree in basic science. Because then you have to think really hard to choose your future course of action. You know, life is so uncertain, even after you complete your master's, your PhD, and even postdoctoral assignments. You know, I know people who go from one postdoctoral assignment to another, you know, visiting various countries around the globe. And in the meantime, you know, here the entry-level jobs all have an age limit. So it's a real problem. Many, you know, actually seek out alternate careers. They have to, changing their tracks at different stages of this long and winding road to a job in science. And ultimately, they do well in life, you know. Provided you put in your efforts and you start loving what you do, you can end up doing very well in your chosen path. However, so those who stay back in science are either the ones who truly enjoy working in the field of science, or those who were, for one reason or the other, unable to find an alternative avenue to use their capabilities. I certainly believe that everyone can teach you something. So everyone has the capability to do well in one or more than one fields, provided they can find the right fit. So that is something which becomes, I think, more of a problem if you have a degree in basic science. In your future jobs, you are likely to encounter much more homogeneous environment in wherever you work. And your colleagues would be involved in meeting the same challenges and would work towards attaining the same goals. I think that makes sense. One of the reasons I think, particularly in India, we fail to deliver in science is that it becomes a very individualistic profession. People will safeguard their own data, they will not share, but that can actually become quite fruitless because, as I was talking to some of the faculty members, there are many problems which cannot be solved unless you share data. And, you also are good at teamwork. So I believe that here you have learned the value of teamwork as well. So, it is also likely that wherever you work, finally, you'll find that some of your own seniors, alumni, will be alumni from IIPE. So you will probably have very comfortable, secure jobs, but don't ever let this lull you into complacency. There are today 2 major contemporary issues which will have unprecedented impact on humanity. And I believe you are likely to have something to contribute in both these areas in the coming years. As you may have already guessed, the first issue is the deep concern for what is happening to our natural environment. But then your coursework at this institute has already exposed you to linkages between human beings, environment, and economy. And you have also learned in some detail the issues involved, the government policies and regulations. One thing that I must admit that some of these words are from your website, institute website, because I wanted to know more about this institute. And I'm so happy that I did that because it was really an eye-opener. From your carefully chosen course content, I really appreciate what your director is doing. It's all very admirable, and I think this institute is going to be a successful institute, and I believe this institute should really grow in size. It's so important. Like the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, for instance, that is atomic research. This field is no less, not at all. In fact, this is so important that this institute must grow and grow to, that scale. Now, the thing is, as far as energy is concerned, and in particular fossil fuels, you are aware of the ongoing big debate on choices for environment and development. Considering the fact that the environment is basically our abode, that's where we live, and development is a goal towards which all nations work in order to improve the lives of their citizens within the environment they live in. And environment and development, therefore, have to be considered together. Today, if the developed nations say, oh, the developing nations should cut down on their energy use because, otherwise they're adding to the pollution in huge amounts. You have to take into account they're still developing, and energy is needed for development. So these two have to go together, and I applaud this institute for assigning great importance to its responsibility to contribute towards achieving the goals that the United Nations has set forth for sustainable development, which requires ensuring access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable modern-day energy for all. That, of course, forms the basis for economic development and the path to the well-being of humanity. As the environmental activist Vandana Shiva has said, you are not Atlas carrying the world on your shoulder. It is good to remember that the planet is carrying you. So we have to work towards protecting our planet. The demand for oil, of course, will continue to increase for several years, even though electric cars are there now. This is due mainly to the requirements of the petrochemical and aviation sectors. So future energy strategy would include the management of extraction of natural resources in ways that they do least damage to the health of the global environment commons. The education that you have received in this institute has trained you well in critical thinking, and I'm sure some of you would definitely contribute towards strategies for sustainable development. The second issue, probably you can guess again, is the role that will be played by artificial intelligence. On artificial intelligence, Sundar Pichai, a name you're all familiar with, the CEO of Alphabet and Google, had this to say. Apparently, he's been saying this for several years now, that artificial intelligence is one of the most profound things we are working on as humanity. It is more profound than fire or electricity. There are deep implications of a statement like that. We know that control of fire changed the course of human evolution. Fire allowed human ancestors to save themselves from predators, travel to regions with frigid climate and stay warm, and to cook food, which they could digest more easily. And the energy they got from that actually impacted the size of brains. The brain size of humans or our human ancestors increased due to this, it is said. As far as electricity goes, invention of the incandescent light bulb in 1879 and construction of the first central power station in 1881 by Thomas Alva Edison led to the rapid use of electricity in homes and in factories. And the rest, of course, is history, as you know. So both fire and electricity have been harnessed with great effectiveness by human beings for their own benefit. Now the big question regarding artificial intelligence is naturally going to be that will we be able to take advantage of all the new developments in artificial intelligence, or there will come a stage in the development of artificial intelligence when human beings will be superseded and machines will take control. Perhaps I also tend to fall in that category most of the time, where I feel that it is up to the human beings to not let that happen. Because creativity and innovation is something that human beings are capable of. And after all, they are producing these machines. And if they allow, if they allow the machines to do everything, think for them, that is going to be troublesome. So today, of course, there are many learned opinions on this subject. But in the short term, the real threat from artificial intelligence to human beings seems to be loss of their jobs, because a huge amount of work can be automated using artificial intelligence today, much larger than ever before. And there'll be new ways. I got a WhatsApp message showing, the Mercedes factory in Germany. Hardly, half a dozen people there. Rest of it is all automated. And, so this is something you people will encounter and see. But the deep understanding of core concepts that you have imbibed during your stay in this institute certainly give you an advantage in exploring innovative, and I stress the word innovative, uses of artificial intelligence in your chosen field of work. This will bring along challenges and exciting times for you in the coming years. So you can certainly look forward to dealing with artificial intelligence using your own intelligence and creativity. So once again, actually your director had such wonderful words to say to you that I sort of, can't think of anything more to add to all those words of wisdom that he really put across. And I now would like to congratulate all of you once again as you stand on the threshold of a new phase in life. I would also like to congratulate the students who have been awarded the President's Gold Medal and Institute Gold and Silver Medals for your outstanding performances. I am particularly happy to see that a young woman has been awarded the President's Gold Medal. At the time when I completed my school years, many, many decades ago, and IIT Delhi was just a few years old and in its infancy, a few of my friends, girls, did seek admission in Delhi IIT to study engineering. They were gently counseled to not enroll in some branches of engineering as they would not be able to handle the practical training. So, petroleum energy, that is really something in chemical engineering, of course. And even Delhi University, I did not know of the existence of the geology department. I tell some of my geologist friends, because there were no girls in geology. There were girls in physics, chemistry, maths, botany, zoology, anthropology, but none in geology. So I wasn't even aware that there's a department of geology in Delhi University. Anyway, so I would like to say this to the young women who are now graduating, that you've really come a long way. I am really very happy to be here amongst all of you, and I end my address by wishing all of you success in your future endeavors. You are our hope for the future. Thank you.
Registrar, please read the citation of the recipient of honoris causa for receiving from the chief guest.
The citation in honor of Mr. Patnasetti Ravi Subhas, the recipient of degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. Mr. Patnasetti Ravi Subhas is an IAS officer of 2013 batch serving in Andhra Pradesh cadre and presently posted as the collector of and district magistrate of Ankappally district. Prior to present incumbency, he held various significant positions in public service. Mr. Ravi Patnasetti, as a project officer at Integrated Tribal Development Agency, Paderu, strived for improving the livelihood and socio-economic development of tribal population through coffee and pepper plantation. He worked immensely for the preservation of tribal culture and heritage by promoting artifacts and organizing tribal festivals. He facilitated the advancement of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, PVTGs, and their economic development in the area by implementing effective strategies and promptly mobilizing resources as needed. He strived immensely to enhance the basic infrastructure, education, and health in the tribal region through required interventions. As a joint collector and additional district magistrate, Kurnool district, he identified and effectively resolved long-standing dotted line issues, ensuring that the poor farmers established their legitimate saleable rights. Presently, as an administrative head of the newly formed Ankaapalli district, his efforts in coordinating with all stakeholders for effective implementation of policy decisions to ensure efficient last mile service delivery for all, with special emphasis on backward regions of the district, are indeed noteworthy. In order to ensure the basic healthcare services to the rural areas, especially in 450 health and wellness centers at village secretariat level in the district, he extensively promoted Swasth Bharat through Ayushman Bharat, HWCs, and Family Doctor Program. With needed interventions at right time by Mr. Patan Chetty Ravi Subhas, the HWCs have been provided with necessary support, thereby enabling them for prompt and efficient services, and thus reduce dependency on tertiary hospitals. In recognition, he received the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration in April 2023 for promoting Swasth Bharat through health and wellness centers in Ankaapalli district. He successfully resolved many land issues in the district pertaining to establishment of various educational institutions and hospitals. He is working on an initiative, Inspire Ankaapalli, to foster a work environment based on positive reinforcement to recognize dedicated employees, outperformance, and center of excellence, thus enhancing the culture of innovation and excellence in service delivery. It is both honor and privilege to confer upon Mr. Patan Chetty Ravi Subhas the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa on this day of 5th August 2023 under the signature of Professor Sali Vahan, the Chairman, Senate, and President, Board of Governors, Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy, Visakhapatnam. Thank you.
Associate Dean Academics, please present the recipient of the President Gold Medal for receiving them from the Chief Guest and Institute Medals from the President Board of Governors.
Sir, I present the name of the student who on fulfillment of the prescribed conditions have been found eligible for the award of President Gold Medal and Institute Medals for batch 2023. President Gold Medal for outstanding overall performance among all the students who completed the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Technology, Ms. Subhadra Jamka. Institute Gold Medal for securing first positions in Petroleum Engineering, Chemical Engineering, Mr. Jeffin Jose, Mr. Dipit Ajit Saha will receive the medal in absentia. Institute Silver Medal for securing second position among all the students who completed the requirements for the degree of Bachelor Technology in Petroleum Engineering, Mr. Harshil Padhi. Institute Silver Medal for Chemical Engineering, Mr. Suraj Kumar will again receive the degree in a medal in absentia. Director, please award the degrees of the institute to all the eligible candidates.
Heads of the departments, please propose the candidates who have become eligible for the award of B.Tech degree of the Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy in this convocation and are present to receive them.
Propose that the following candidates be admitted to the degree of B.Tech in Chemical Engineering of the Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy in person. Yelakala Bharat, Penugonda Harisai, Parasu Praneeth Srinivas, Subhadra Jamkar, Harshavardhan Vyas, Ambatsa Vipul Kumar Sanjay Kumar, Naman Rautri, Abhijit Das, Hritik Singh, Anirban Banerjee, Ayush Raj, Rongali S. Narayana. Prabhat Dangi. Konatala Venkata Girish Kumar. Andra Sai Lakshmi Ganesh. Buragapa Yashwant. Shruti Temburne. Dammu Rajat Kumar. Subhaditya Tripathi. Mandapati Ramakrishna. Konala Neeraj Verma. Aryan Jha. Gudla Jayaswarup.
Director, I propose that the following candidates be admitted to the degree of BTech in Petroleum Engineering of the Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy in person. Siddhi Sai Akhil. Dobha Amos. P. Gautam Males. Kapu Kaibasri. Washin Kumar. Harshil Padhi. Harsh Madhugaria. K. Vishnu Teja. K. Hemant Shiva Sai Rakesh. Satya Prakash. Shapidi Ravi Teja. G. Uday Teja. Jagdish Misenam. Vadapalli Raghuram. G. Bhanu Prakash. Chaitanya Krishna Bathula. JSRP Ganesh Chakrabarti. Anup Kumar. Akash. Hemulapalli Pallavi. Nikhil Prasad. Peter Younggreen. Kitty Soni. Bharatam Asutosh Kumar. Vishnu Bardhan Mathi. Anam Ekant. Pradyuman Singh. Nikhil Kumar. Ashish Dutt Sharma. Sayan Das. Navneet Vishwal. Kandukuri Rakesh.
by virtue of the authority vested in me as the Director of Indian Institute of Petroleum and Energy in person, I admit the candidates proposed and presented by the heads of the department to the respective degrees for which they have been proposed and presented. Okay, so we'll do a very serious thing now. I'll say 1, 2, and 3. You have to throw your stall. It should be synchronous. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it was not synchronous. We'll do it once more. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Should we repeat it? Is enough? Okay, this is the last time. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Now you can resume your seats.
I request Director Sir to felicitate our Chief Guest, Professor Archana Bhattacharya, INSA Honorary Scientist at Indian Institute of Geomagnetism, IIG.
Please stand for the national anthem and remain standing till the academic procession leaves the conference venue.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे